Welcome, beautiful people. How are you doing? We are here. First episode of Dan Cams. If you do want to jump in, you can do. No obligation. We'll probably run this first show for about an hour. Have a little bit of fun. Let's see. I do sometimes. I am genuinely shocked that you guys and girls can have so much fun without a stream going on. I'm very impressed that you can do that. So how are we all? Is my mic not working? Tell you what, it's good darts, isn't it? There we are. That should feel better. How are we all doing? I hope we're all doing. There we are. Fixed. Evening chills. Big. Sean says, Julie, Albert, Josh, Wayne. How are we doing? S&M. There we are. Fixed it. Don't worry, Sean. Fixed it. I didn't realize I knocked out the cable. So if you do want to join in on the fun, click that. You can come in. What I wanted to do first, bit of fun, right? Bit of fun. And babe, I'm live. I don't understand. So here we go. So we've got, I thought we could have a look. Where did I see it? I didn't see. Has anyone seen it? Can someone check on socials? I saw, let's have a look at the new people, right? The new people in their teams, right? Their new teams. So let's have a look at some of them. I mean, we could start having a look here at Finbar Malley. Let's have a look at him. Oh, here we are. First guest, Evan. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, bro. How are you?
Hey, good, mate. How's the off season treated you?
Oh, well, the sun's coming out, so I can't complain. How about yourself?
Mate, that's good.
Yes. All right. So, Pommel, I was having a snoop at next year's draft and that kind of top 20 mix, and I'm thinking I'm looking to go for a tall next year.
You never know. Part of me thinks that you might see Carlton maybe have a sniff at someone like Aidan Schobert this year as well, because he's the standout tall in the draft. I could make an argument of just buy them now.
Right. I did have a think about him. What do you reckon he'll fall?
Say that again. Sorry, you broke up.
Sorry. I was thinking he would be another one to look at, but I was thinking about Benji Van Ruin next year too.
You could do. I mean, I looked at the AFL out of contracts. I've got a feeling next year, and I said it in my video this week, that I think Carlton particularly might look at free agency next year, because you've got to have Cody Walker go pick 2, 1, 3, 4. Kind of kills the draft if you're matching that bid. Wonder if we go like kind of a Collingwood approach a couple of years ago. Jed Walter's out of contract next year. He's a non-free agent. So if they wanted to go for someone younger, you'd imagine he's going to be behind and they're going to sign Ben King as a priority. I reckon there's quite a few Carlton might have a sniff at if they want senior players.
What about Ben King himself?
You know what? He'd be the dream, wouldn't he? You lose Charlie, you get the younger, healthier version. It would be the dream switch, wouldn't it?
Yeah. What about with the so what's the deal with Tassie? They have to trade out, what's it, pick 5, pick 11, and I think another one. Is that something you can do next year?
Yeah, so next year, the Tassie concessions, they're absolutely insane, aren't they? So 2027, they'll have the number 1 pick, won't they? Let's just recess the views. So yeah, 2027 draft, they'll have 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. But 5, 7, 11, and 13 have to be traded for whatever they want.
That just makes it interesting. I mean, and you see the arsenal that we've got now. It's just where the options are great. So it's looking good from that view.
Yeah, well, I mean, I agree with some of the comments here as well. I think when Tasmania come in, you're going to see a mass amount of trading. I think a lot of teams are going to try and trade for players, and then there'll be a few like we've seen when GWS and Gold Coast have the concessions, will try and use the picks you don't want in the draft. So I think it's going to be a real fast. I just feel Carlton are in a great position where we've got quite a lot of youth that needs to develop. So Carlton next year take it as a free hit and go, let's just get the 24, 25-year-olds in this club.
I mean, it makes sense because just given the kind of age profile of our list, it's not like we need a plethora of young guys. We've kind of already got a bunch of them that we're trying to blood. Yeah. I'm worried about Cowan, though. I reckon Tassie will probably come hard for Cowan.
You'd imagine that they do. I mean, Tasmania are lucky, aren't they? Unlike GWS, they've got kind of an established. There's quite a large amount of Tasmanians in and around the AFL. So you'd imagine that if you were building a list, you'd want Tasmanian-born players, wouldn't you? Sanders rings a bell. Cowan, like Cowan, definitely captain material as well. He captained the Tassie under-18. So
yeah.
I mean, tell you what, if they want to give us pick 5 for for young Cowan, I'd think about it.
You'd want to keep Cowan on the same token, though. He's probably one of our bright, shining lights going into the future. And he's a blue bagger.
Look, I've got a feeling that I think Cowan would want to stay. I think that would be more that would be more something I'd look at in free agency, maybe in 2030, 2031, when he's probably when he's a bit older, that he might then go home when he's done whatever he's got to do at Carlton. I don't see it. To answer Lou's question, they can trade for other picks as well. There's no caveat there that they have to be players. The AFL did specify they want to do 5 for 25, 30, 45 and a future first. They can do as well. So it's not just players that they have to use them picks for.
Right. Well, so realistically, I mean, Tassie would want to go hard and probably trade out as many picks as they can for established talent.
Yeah. I think the aim for the AFL is for Tasmania to do a not stupid thing and pay some random guy we've never heard of 3 million. I think the idea there is them picks. If you look at like Collingwood's list, and I'm not picking on Collingwood, but they're a little bit on the older side. You look at other teams that are a little bit older, maybe at that time they might be willing to get rid of a star for picks 5, 7. Like that's the idea. That they're aiming to try and snare a player to help you rebuild.
That makes sense because I think another thing that will be difficult for Tassie is that even with the Tassie-born players, they might not necessarily want to go home. It's probably not as attractive as other clubs have been in that aspect.
Well, I mean, it's certainly get out the bubble. We had a Mr. Charlie obviously say he wanted to get out the bubble. I'd imagine if you want to get out the bubble, Tasmania is almost its own separate country, isn't it? So that's probably it. That's where I could maybe see if I was like 30 years old, I've played for 10 years, I could really see the appeal of going over there. So be interesting. The players that are 30 at that time, I reckon you might be shocked of the players that might be keen to go over there.
That's a good point. And I think would they have some kind of sign-on bonus?
Yeah, they've got and they've also got extra cap as well. They've got that sign-on bonus, which obviously Gold Coast famously used to get Gary Ablett because he took up 100% of their commercial cap. They've also been given an extension on that as well.
Right.
But they've got 5 million to use outside of the cap to pay players to sign. So it's quite a lot of cash.
Cash to splash, and well, they're going to need it. So wish them luck. Because I think it's. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, do you think it will happen? Because obviously, as Lou correctly says, the stadium is in doubt. I've got a feeling the AFL are going to do something stupid and make Tasmania play on a neutral venue for a year.
Well, I mean, are they committed? The team's 100% committed to happening, right? It's just the stadium. Yeah. And they're playing VFL next year. Give them Icon. They can have Icon.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Uh,
it's a fascinating thing that we've got a guaranteed team, but the stadium is 50-50 happening, which I just find the classic AFL. They've got this great idea, but they haven't really planned it very well.
I mean, the budget that they've forecast is already blown out and could blow out even more. And they're not even, you know, they're not even at the first stage. So apparently they want a glass roof or whatever it is. And I just don't know. It sounds like a nightmare. I don't think the federal government wants to chip in all that much, or the state government. They're kind of like 50-50 whether they even want the thing to happen. So it's a kind of bad omen to start that way. But I mean, they'll get there. They'll get it eventually. But it doesn't bode well for the team in their initial years.
I agree. It's the most AFL thing though in the world, isn't it? Like every time we've had a team come in, Gold Coast, GWS, now Taz, there's been issues which the other team they've nailed. So it's always fascinating. I mean, I agree with Shua here. I know the capacity at UTAS isn't great, but like everyone knows it, don't they? Like the teams play there. You would have thought they could start out there small, go bigger.
Yeah, I mean, look, they've got options. It's not the end of the world, but yeah, you'd much rather have the stadium there. And in terms of commerce, I mean, obviously it's going to cost a lot, but the amount of people that you can have coming into Tasmania throughout the year, um, in terms of commerce, just generally speaking, it would be fantastic for them.
I mean, it would be fascinating because I was reading an article the other day that the AFL were putting pressure on Tasmania's government to give to approve it all and approve the planning permission, and they'd even threatened to take the license off them. It would be
Mafia.
funny where the AFL stood if teams this year have traded in anticipation of that. I wonder how many future deals have been done by football clubs in the anticipation that 2027 is compromised. I wonder where they'd
Mm,
stand if they complained.
yeah, I mean, yeah, you nailed it. I mean, it is typical AFL stuff, isn't it? Just yeah, bright ideas, but no real foresight.
That's great intel from Shadow. They expect to pass it through the lower Senate and then the upper house to pass it. I mean, it'd be fascinating if it would just be funny if, like, Sydney came out and said, we wouldn't have given Charlie Curno's future first pick if we'd known Tasmania were in it. Like, it'd be fascinating where they'd stand legally because I'd
Yeah,
imagine
right.
that was part of the appeal of trading that pick.
Yeah, yeah. So, and they had the first 10 picks, is it?
Yeah, so they've got an absolute arsenal. So they will have. So they're guaranteed pick one in 2028, regardless of where they finish, and they have 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. So they've got and pick one. So 5, 7, 11. So four of them, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Four of the 7 picks they've got have to be traded.
Right. So it's pretty similar to the GWS Gold Coast package then. Only those teams were in consecutive years of one another. So those drafts were just you kind of compromised in a row. If that makes sense.
Yeah, well, the AFL don't want to have what they did with Gold Coast. If you remember Gold Coast and GWS, it felt like they had the first 10 picks of 20 drafts.
Yeah.
So they want to kind of condense it to all the football clubs in one go. So, which I can get around it. I can get around. I don't mind one draft, but it did feel like, didn't it? GWS particularly, it felt like every year they had 5 of the
Yeah.
first 10 picks.
Well, GWS also just really smart in that when players were coming out, they were always able to bring top picks back in, and that's kind of been their model for a long time now.
Yeah,
So for
it's
them,
crazy when
keeping
you
them
look at
at
how
that
many
level,
players they've lost. Like crazy, and how good they still are.
Well, that's the thing that amazes me, and that's kind of what's telling about where Gold Coast are at the minute is that they've lost a few players this year, and it's kind of no skin off their nose in terms of if that happened to them in 2022, you're like, oh shit, no good. But they're actually kind of at that stage now where they can rely on their academy and whatnot, which is
Yeah,
this success story for GWS.
it's crazy when I was actually watching the other day. Someone had put on Twitter the amount of father-son NGAs that they've had, and like Brisbane were like top of that ladder. And I've just done a video on Brisbane's off-season. It's crazy when you think Brisbane built a list without their father-sons NGAs. But then as they've got good, the NGAs and father-sons have borne fruit, the Ashcrofts and co. It's crazy how they've lost players like Starcevic has played every game this year when he's been fit. Suddenly, though, they're replacing it with Annabelle, who could be as good as the Ashcrofts. And they've got about 3 or 4 other players that are very good. It's crazy how luck has happened for Brisbane, that it's just come at the right time.
I mean, credit to them for having the kids at the right time, but at the same time, they managed to get all of those players in before the changing of the rules. Yeah, it feels like it's another conspiracy against Carlton.
It does. I mean, I've got to say, I think there's a bit of similarity between us and Brisbane, because our 2 best father-sons just so happen to be that 48-month period that we're going through a little bit of a reset now. Suddenly you're getting, it's almost like, I don't want to say it's like Collingwood, but it's like Collingwood getting Nick Dacos. They did the hard work to change their list. Then they got him. We're going to be the same type situation. We're going to do all that hard work this year and next year before Cody comes in to get our list balanced. Then suddenly you get the injection of Cody, which makes me excited long term.
Well, yeah, so long as he's coming to a club with a bit of stability, that's still one of the things that hangs over us a bit. Thoughts on where the Gov stays? You see it happening? Rookie contract, maybe?
It's going to be fascinating, because you'd imagine now that Carlton are going to delist him and offer him a rookie deal. When you look at the situation of our list makeup, you imagine that we do that old dodgy thing of we delist him. I question, would Gov want that? And I also question, I mean, I don't know where you stand, Evan. I don't know where the audience stand. I'd rather Carlton get Sam Frost in the terms of getting an actual key position player, not a pretend one.
I love that you just said that, Pom, because all right, Frosty is he can be a bit of an airhead, right? But he's your AFL standard kind of guy. He's got the big rig. He's not going to do anything flashy, but he's a body. He's an able body, and he's got experience. I'm definitely not opposed. He's 32 years old. He still looks like he's fit enough to play.
Yeah,
so
I couldn't agree more, because you look at Hawthorn, it's very similar to Hawthorn with Battle. I remember that year that they tried to trade for Battle and it didn't happen. And then they just used Sam Frost for the whole year, made finals, then they got him for free. So I look at it this way. We're kind of that same situation. We only need someone to hold an end up for a year. Sam Frost has played finals holding an end up for a year. I really like Sam Frost. Just he'll be cheap. He's been there. He's done it. I'd feel more confident than Lewis Young at fullback, Sam Frost. So I'm happy for it.
Every year we go in with the same scenario. If Wiedering goes down, we have no one that's capable of holding down that spot. So that worry is always there. And it would just be nice to have at least, some insurance that there's someone who can at least hold down the spot. Where Lewis Young, I mean, no disrespect to the guy, but that's not his bag, really.
Where do you stand with this? Josh asking, g'day, Josh, mate. And I've got a big shout out to Josh a bit later in the show. But Logan McDonald, obviously, Charlie going there. He's going to be competing now with the young man. Always that rumour, though, that he wants to go to Western Australia. But would you go in for Logan?
I would probably rather throw my weight behind someone like an Ethan Reid. I mean, I know that he's a Queenslander. Jed Walter, obviously. I think he's decent. Logan probably hasn't hit his straps yet, but yeah, I'm not convinced. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, my only issue is it looked like 2 years ago he was a lock to join Sydney. I mean, Western Australia, all the rumours where he was going to join Eagles or Freo. With him being a Perth boy, would you want to move to Sydney to Victoria, then back to WA? So
it'd need to be a big sell. You'd need to be in a really good spot.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather go after someone like Jed Walter, who has. I remember doing his draft profile. he was one of the first Gold Coast NGAs to say playing in Victoria would be a dream, like playing at the G and stuff. So I feel like he might be gettable, but also he's open to the idea of playing in Victoria. And
I mean,
I think he's a better player.
he's just, like, you just see the grand final sprint. I'm like, that's not Jed Walter, is it? I fucking blew my head open, mate. I was so when you're that, he's Jed Walter is he is a special talent. He will be, but yeah, he's in that position where if Jamara Ewell-Hagan goes well enough to find his way into the team next year, it's just only going to make more pressure, and he'll be forced to think about it.
A few people asking this. Mason Cox. A lot of people worried with Carlton about if it's Harry goes down, we actually have no key forwards apart from Hodgson on the list. Mason Cox for a year. Who says no?
Big Cox, yeah. That's I don't know where I stand
I'd
on
have
that.
to delete a load of watch along footage of where I've absolutely lambasted him if he did sign.
I mean, it'd be good for the bands. It'd be good for the bands, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, he can play ruck. Not great, but he can play ruck. Yeah, how old is he? What, 32? 31, 32?
Yeah, to be fair, he's got one of
Not
them
fast.
faces that has looked 34 it's at 35 in March. That's
Oh,
crazy.
okay. Shit.
Jesus. I was just about to say he's got one of them faces that looked like he was 21 at 12. So
Yeah, okay, that blew my mind. I thought he was a bit younger. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit old. If you're doing that, you might as well go for Liam Jones at the same time, and I'm not really into that. With
climb
respect to
back
Jonesy.
years.
With respect to Jonesy, that ship has sailed. What are some other prospects that you would look at in the delisting area?
Yeah, I'd definitely look at Ethan Phillips. A few people have asked that. A few people have asked about Ethan Phillips on our VFL list. I know that the VFL spend a lot of time with the seniors training, so I'm really intrigued. But I'd like to see Ethan Phillips train on, particularly give him the chance because I think he looks incredible from his times at North Melbourne when he was on the list. He looks a lot more well developed now in the VFL, and I'd like to see him get that opportunity.
Yeah, he was pretty eye-catching this year. He definitely looks like someone who could step up to the plate. So I'm definitely not opposed to that.
You know what? I've just checked. There is almost to the day a year in age difference between Mason Cox and Levi Casbolt. That is crazy. We could bring Levi back for the year.
Bring him back, baby. Come on.
Hey,
What do we
we
have to
haven't seen
lose?
him. Yeah, you know what? Before I let you go, what is your big hope in the off season? Do you want Carlton to what would you like to see them draft? If that first pick is there, pick 9, do you want to see a midfielder, a halfback, key forward? What would you like to see come out of Nick Austin's mouth?
It's kind of hard to say whether because I don't know what they're going to do with these 2 picks at the moment. Whether they're going to try to trade up. I mean, I think a few people have been talking about Cooper Duff Tyler, which yeah, I don't think we really need to go there to be honest. But I think we're a bit. I'm thinking a winger, to be honest, would be whether there's someone that you see that's worth drafting is another thing. But yeah, the wings are what concern me. It's the same thing that was a few years ago, mate, where we're like, fuck, where are our wingers? And then this year is again, where the fuck are our wingers?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be fascinating if Voss sees Florent and Chesser as wingers or halfbacks. They've done both of them roles. And
I say
we
Florent
saw Ollie
halfback.
Hollands pretend to be a halfback last year. It'd be really fascinating how Voss sees them 3 if they're fully fit.
Well, and there's Cottrell to add back into that mix as
There is,
well.
yeah.
Which I think we kind of missed him this year. He was one of those ones that flew under the radar in terms of not having that endurance runner in the team. Chess, I would say, is an out-and-out winger. He's got the skill set. I think that halfback we probably need Florent there. at this stage. So it'll be interesting to see what we do.
Yeah, you see Rifty agreeing with you. I'm a big Chesser man. I remember his draft well. I really hope we can get him right because I think we might have looked out with him. I really do think if he stays fit, we could have looked out.
Well, here's to hoping.
Hey, mate. Well, thank you very much, Evan. Great to see you, mate. And cheers for joining the show, mate, on our first stream.
Cheers, Pom. Thanks.
Cheers, mate. Right, let's catch up with some of that. You're all aboard the Chester train, so am I. Josh Lindsay, we'll talk about Josh Lindsay in a bit because I'll bore you with my Lindsay love. We've got the draft content starting next week, so all you'll hear about is Josh Lindsay. Here he is. Now I've got the great man, Sean. You've seen him in the chat usually. Sean, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, doing quite good. How are you doing?
Good, mate. I'm loving life. Off season. Can't wait for the draft. Got the trade out of the way.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going with the trade period or off season. Getting a bit annoyed at the talks of Collingwood going through a massive cliff, but it's getting to that point where I'm just ignoring all the media that has that narrative.
The amount of times I have read in comment sections they're going to fall off a cliff, and then when I was doing the research for the video I did today, it isn't as bad as people think. I think you guys are very good at making a VFL player earn his ropes and then just come in. And if you see some exponential growth from Ed Allen, Di Mattia, and players like that, Will Hayes, who we saw, you've got 4 or 5 players that potentially are ready now.
Well, yeah, that's the key thing is there's so many VFL players, like even through when I was going through my list of like the players and who's off contract and everything, I think it was roughly around half of Collingwood's list is under 30. And most of that was probably that like mid-20 as well. So once you get rid of, or say like next year might be Pendlebury, Sidebottom, Jeremy Howe's final year, and then you have a couple of years of those early 30s, you just need to pick up a few gradually pick up a few players that are of that younger age, and that list suddenly goes from one of the oldest to an average age for the team.
I mean, it also doesn't help that you've got players on. I mean, I always say this every year. I bore myself, but when you've got anyone who's 35 on your list, it completely outweighs your team. We talked about it about Todd Goldstein this year at Essendon, that people were like, oh, they're actually technically on average older than Carlton when we played. And it was like, yeah, you've got to take out Goldstein out of that equation, though. He wobs it. But you guys have got Pendlebury, Sidebottom, Howe, and now Mason Cox, who you've delisted. But that's a lot of players in that 34 above age group that really warps your team's age.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, well, that's the key thing as well. Like, it really does increase that average age for us. And I've been saying this, unfortunately, a lot of Collingwood fans will probably disagree with me, but I've been saying this for a few years now, that I think Pendlebury, Sidebottom, and Howe, all 3 of those just aren't getting the most out of themselves anymore. And I think next year should definitely be their last year. So once you get rid of like those 3 from the list, and then obviously Mason just being delisted, yes, they're premiership players with experience, but they could go into coaching roles that can teach or even mentor the younger players anyway.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think you've seen it with Geelong. Like I always tell the Tom Atkins story. A good mate of mine is a Geelong guy. But for 2 years, he was like, oh, wait till Selwood retires, Pom. We got Tommy Atkins in there. And they just kept playing him in the VFL. You never really heard of him in the AFL. And then, like, Selwood retired. They'd played Atkins 8 or 10 times. Not great, but he was okay. And then suddenly, it was almost like round 6 happened. And you were like, oh, Joel Selwood wasn't that good. Like, so that's kind of what the model is. I could see, like, Di Mattia even someone like Will Hayes, who's really impressed me this year, I could see 12 months' time, we're talking about Will Hayes as an incredible best 22 footballer, all because you've developed him nice and slowly.
Well, that's the key thing with Collingwood as well and a lot of the other clubs do it, but it just seems that Collingwood's are slightly better at the way they go about it, is how they develop their players through the VFL in the past few years. And that's Craig McRae's mantra, is it's that sort of like fit to perform versus fit to play. Like all of those VFL players are obviously fit to play, but you've got to wait for them to just get that edge of performance that it's like, okay, they can replace players like Sidebottom, players like Elliott in the forward line. Like Charlie West, you had last season, replace, I think it was either Elliott or it could have been Bobby. And it almost felt like there was no real change. That's just how that mantra is, that there's players through injury, suspension or whatever, that once they're out, we've got those VFL players that we know can play very well.
This is an interesting one from Shadowlight. Will Phillips, he's still a baby. Yeah, he is the type of player, when I look at the Magpies, who would go, like, look at Ned Long, a guy that is defensively strong. He looked a superstar midway through last year. Will Phillips, is that someone that is definitely the type of player that Pies pick up? And in 12 months' time, we're like, why did no one else pick him up?
Well, yeah, I could definitely see that happening, along with in the defence, like Jacob Blight is trying to go for those younger but the lesser known players as well, that we can develop into our style instead of having to really like change them from their old style to then bring in a new style. Like there are players that can have immediate impact, and it's some of those, particularly with Ned Long when we signed him and with Will Phillips, they're players that don't really need any change to just fit into the team at all.
I can already predict it now, Sean, that we're going to be, by the by, Will Phillips will have signed for Collingwood, played 7 games, looked amazing, and then there will be an article somewhere saying, have North Melbourne destroyed their list by delisting a player like that? And he's driving at Collingwood. Guaranteed that will be an article at some point if you sign him.
Yeah, I could definitely see that as well. It's media narrative as well.
So, Sean, where do you see the Pies next year? So a lot of people are on the fall off the cliff. They're going to be bottom 4. Some bullish Collingwood fans I've seen flag favourites. Where do you sit? Where do you see a good season next year for Collingwood?
Well, unfortunately, I definitely can't see us flag favourites, but I'd say successful season would be bottom of the 8, so 4 or 4-5 through till 8.
Yeah, I think I've got you around that 6th mark. Sean, are you there? Sean?
Okay, there we are.
Are you there?
Yeah, I think I just majorly had a fail there. I'd say like 10 to 12 would be sort of a marginal pass, but definitely bottom of the top 8, I'd say, would be a pass.
Yeah, I think when I did I'm nowhere near my preseason predictions, but I tried to do where do I think 2026's picks will be, doing a reverse ladder order. I think I've got you that 6th spot, which actually makes me a little bit more scared, because I think the Pies are more dangerous when they're underrated as opposed to when they're favourites. I would hate to play Pies when they're 6th and we're 3rd on the ladder in an elimination final. Going to what? That's when I'd be more scared. I'd rather play you when you're 2nd, when you've got the double chance and you're meant to beat us.
Well, yeah, the underdog mantra definitely helps us, weirdly enough, way too much. You obviously, as a club, prefer to have the double chance, but there's just something about it that we either go in too cocky or just overthink things. Whereas when we're when we don't have the double chance and we're having to go a different way about it, we just have that underdog performance in us. Even like the entirety of 2022, parts of 2023, when we were always behind at three-quarter time, and that comeback to get past these other clubs, it's weird, and it's obviously nail-biting, and I hate it from my heart, but it is definitely interesting for next year.
Before I let you go, Sean, you've signed Buller, who, when I was doing the research on Buller's season, it's genuinely scary how that looks like baby Majacek, but he's performed quite well for Sydney. How big do you think the loss of Majacek is? Because it feels so weird. I looked at a picture of him today in the Melbourne shirt, and it doesn't look right. Like, my brain can't quite rationalise it. But
we'll ignore.
Do you think it's a big loss, or do you think Buller's going to make you forget about him within a couple of weeks?
Well, I think we'd have to have Buller start off VFL just to see fully what he's capable of. But I could easily see mid-season him breaking into that first squad, and we'd probably forget about Majacek. Not entirely, obviously, but it'd be on the back of our mind that we lost him. Because, yeah, Buller, watching the highlights that Swoop and yourself and everyone else have put out, it's just so uncanny how similar they are in their playing style.
Yeah, I have this horrible feeling that he's going to be dirty good. It's going to remind me a little bit of, you have a habit, don't they? Like, I do feel people overrate key forwards when we talk about Collingwood, because I can't remember the last good key forward you had. And I mean that with respect. Like, you're not the type of club that goes out and buys a Buddy Franklin, buys a Charlie Kerno. You always seem to buy these almost average forwards and turn them in to very useful forwards. Like, I always look at Darcy Cameron as the ruck. I remember people saying, oh, he's rubbish. Sydney fans commenting, oh, he's a hack. And suddenly he's easily top 3 ruckman in the league. Your system is more important than the player.
Yeah, it's definitely system-based. And yeah, going back to your question, I think realistically our last key forward was probably Travis Cloak. But other than that,
Jesus.
Yeah, and that was a while ago. That was what, like 10 years ago or something he left. So after that, we've just had these like average players that through our system, we've just improved.
Mate, I'm looking forward to it. I always enjoy chatting to you, Sean. You're the highlight of 2025 to me. You're like one of the new guys that we found, and I love you to pieces, mate. Thank you for joining us on the first show, and hope to see you again soon when we do this again next week, mate.
Definitely. Thank you for having me.
Cheers, Sean. Thank you very much. Well, I mean, if someone can be my guinea pig, can someone go out there and just go on Facebook, on socials? Someone posted the other day the first look at all the new recruits in their new Guernseys, and I didn't bookmark it. But someone try and find me and just link me to it, because it was really interesting. I can't be asked to do it individually and look at them. What do I think of this? West Coast Eagles Dersma. That would be a great get. I think Dersma's got to be priority number 1. Sullivan Roby. Remember, I'm not a big Roby man, but I reckon he will go in the top 4. Grill makes sense. Xavier Taylor, I do like that. Essendon, CDT, and Sharp. I think if Essendon could snag Sharp and CDT, that might be the best ever. Cumming, Eagles. If Eagles ended up with Dersma, Cumming, Doverston, that could be game-changing. Because that covers everything you want. It was Cadus. I'm pretty sure Cadus stole the article, though. I'm not bagging Caden. I love Caden McDonald. Look, good friend of the channel is Caden, but I'm pretty sure he had an article on there. Unless he's cheating. Is he cheating? Is he cheating, chat? Here we are. I'll drop the link in the comments again as well. If you want to join on, don't be shy. Tell you what, if you're a Essendon fan, I know there's a few in there. Hawthorn, come on, we'll talk about the draft while we do this. Josh says, for one season, this is Carlton, for those of you who don't know, Lemmy. Oh, don't bring Lemmy back, please. Please. I can't do it again. I can't. Ethan Phillips, I agree with. Ash Johnson. You know what? I love Ash Johnson. He was like one of my favorite pies to watch. The issue with Ash Johnson, though, is I can never forgive him for trying to beat that guy at Frankston and getting run down. It was the worst thing I've ever seen. Is George Stevens contracted? Hey, it's all good, Sean, mate. We love you, man. George Stevens, he hasn't got a contract in front of him. Hasn't got a contract in front of him, which is really interesting. So a few of you are asking about list spots available for Carlton. Carlton's list spots at the minute, 34 on the senior list, 7 on the rookie A, 2 on rookie B. That's 43. They've got decisions about Mitch McGovern, which opens up a senior spot. Will White and Flynn Young, you reckon, are going to be unlucky purely because they have massively improved that area and their rookie A's. And Elijah, obviously, is going to be paid out. So you'd imagine Carlton are going to be 3 at that. About 3 to 4 spots they could potentially open up. Besides from Walker, who is Carlton after, I think that's an interesting one. Doverston would suit the bill. Josh Lindsay would do that. Do you want to watch a bit of Josh Lindsay, love? A bit of Josh Lindsay, love. Hey, tell you what, no one told me that. I'm not the audio. Hey, you know that. And I wasn't reading chat. So if you get a chance, check out this guy here. A guy called Footy Stuff on YouTube. Does some really, really good videos on that. Right? Here we are. Check this out here. These highlights. These are really strong. Look at this guy's kicking. The John Lennon of field kicking is Josh Lindsay. Look at that. This guy here, honestly, I'm telling you, people are sleeping on him because he only plays halfback. He hasn't performed in midfield. Telling you, this guy is another level. Look at him. Honestly, this is absolute sexual healing. He's in this draft, James. Look at that. Like this guy here. Look at him. Never misses a kick. Absolute delight. Absolute delight. And he's also another level good. He's strong defensively as well, Tyson. I rate him. Especially as a halfback that can overlap. TL, mate, I'm with you. I think if you imagine him and Roberts on either wing. Imagine on either flank. Yeah, but Josh Lindsay's another level compared to Boyd. Boyd is just kick 0 IQ. This guy, this guy's everything about modern day football. Don't mind that, Josh. I rate that. But look at him. Really good. Really good. Another one. Don't want to ruin your time here, chat, but another one that I really want you to check out as well is we talked about Jack Dalton today. This is another one I want to give you a little bit of love on. So again, Footy Stuff on YouTube. Get around them. Here you are. Look, Jack Dalton. This is a real solid Collingwood type pickup, this. He'll be in their range. Really, really strong. Really, really strong. But this guy here would be in the 30s. Probably about Collingwood's first pick. Where have I got him ranked? Always good to know that. I'll tell you. Look, I like Sam Grill. My issue with him is I've never been a big fan of pace merchants. I rate him, though. He is in my big draft board. So at the minute, we've got Sam pick 9 on my power rankings. So I rate him. King Cheese. But look at this. This guy here. Just got something about him. This guy gives me a lot of Murphy Reed. A lot of Murphy Reed last year, where I think it's understated how good he is. How good he is. So I've got something else special to show you when this video fixes. So here you are, right? Can you see that, chat? Can you see that? But I've got this little thing here that we've been making, right? There you are. We've been making here. So a bit more work needs to be done on this because it's not quite perfected yet. But these are the types of players that we've got just using our algorithm here. So we've got Adelaide looking at them contested mids, tall depth. Players we're looking at, Riley Onley, Harley Barker. He would be ridiculous there for him. Liam Heatherton, shout out for him. Very good player. Mitchie Stevens, their father-son type player. Obviously, Brisbane, quite straightforward. Academy first strategy. They like midfield leadership focus. Carlton. So we've got here bolster key positions and father-son future. Some players here, right, that you're looking, right? Harry Dean, obviously. He's linked to us. So then look, here you've got Aidan Schobert, Mitch Marsh. Can you imagine if my boy Mitch Marsh came in? We were talking about Mitch Marsh when he just made the Adelaide squad. And Lockie Doverston, Crafty. Josh Lindsay is on the big list. What we've done here is this is more algorithm based. So the algorithm looks at your holes in your list and it suggests ideas for what it's missing. So that's always important. So Collingwood here, you can see replenish midfield, bit of depth. You can see a club not expected to nominate Tom McGuan. They've announced that. But Zach McCarthy, you asked about Zach McCarthy in chat. I think it was Ben, wasn't it? Ben Parsons did. I'm absolutely huge on Zach McCarthy. Hey, Sean, no problems, my friend. So big fan of Zach McCarthy. I actually think Zach McCarthy, in my opinion, as a pure ruckman, I think his ruckcraft is the best in the draft at the minute. And the way he moves at his height, I'm really excited about him. Do like Fred Rodriguez as well. Kai Fincher, obviously he's linked with St Kilda, but there's an option. Essendon. I know there's a few beautiful Essendon fans in chat. Good day to you. So we've got here top 2. So you want 2 of the best in the top 10, obviously. Inside out midfielder mix. I think that's a big area there. Some real good targets though here. So Sullivan Roby, for those who are obsessed. I know my boy Felix is obsessed with it. Hey Damo, how you doing? So we've got Essendon, Dyson Sharp, Schobert, Xavier Taylor, Tweed, Hussein Al-Akkar. Some really good ones. It is Tatum. Fremantle are real fascinating. Damo, good timing. So what we've picked out for here, Jevan Philippot would be huge. Cam Nairn, Lockie Doverston, Noah Hibbins-Hargraves, and Tony Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I agree, Void Generation. That's why we did that outside to in. So we're looking at that ability to spread. Geelong. So genuinely, as you can see, they go local. Skilled users are a high little thing there. So Josh Lindsay, his name is really high up for likability there. Don't think he slides that much. Ludovic would be a very interesting one, though, for them. Jesse Mellor is a really nice prospect, though, for them. Gold Coast, we know all about. We don't have to talk about them. So it's GWS. GWS, for me, are the best team in the world to study. And the reason that I love GWS is they go for the same fucking player all the time. And that player is a guy that runs and kicks well. So it's something that turns me on. The algorithm confirmed it as well. The algorithm literally looked at their last 10 years of drafting, and particularly their last 5, and was like, they like guys who are quick and can kick footballs. So expect it to be one of these guys, to be fair. I would put money that they end up with someone like... If 35 is in play, I will bet a mortgage that's Dalton. There's Pom's guess for the year. Here we are, Damer!
Hey,
Fremantle.
Pom, how are you, mate?
Good, mate. Talk to me about Fremantle. How would we describe your off-season? Almost quiet but understated?
80% of the list is contracted. So what are you going to do unless you want to delist people and pay them out? Like, they've pretty much got the team that they need. They just need experience in games into them. Like, even though the Dockers were playing top 4 footy for most of last season, not most of last season, but in patches of last season, even in terms of games experience, they were one of the least experienced sides on the park in most of their games, either in games played or age. So I think another 12 months into the same group or the same 25 to 30 players, and who knows what this season's going to do. And Judd McVie helping Jordan Clark off the half-back line, that's almost exactly what they needed, because if a team was able to shut down Jordan Clark, then the Dockers couldn't move the football.
You know what? What I liked about your list is, and what I like about your acquisitions is, you went out, you got that deal done so early, which is something I complain about every year. When it's obvious what a team needs, they fuck about for about what feels like 2 weeks just to get the deal. That was like almost the first deal done, wasn't it? Like Big Vay, you got him through the door. It allows you to sit back and see what all the other clowns do. And what I admire about Fremantle as well, and I know I might be biased because you always deal with Carlton, is you don't piss about when you sell players as well. Like Port Adelaide got a good deal on Brodie as well. You just get rid of them. And
well,
I think that's why Fremantle are the easiest club in the league to deal with.
Well, the value in Reid and Brodie was less about the player and more about the list spot and needing and wanting to use the list spot at the draft.
Well, I mean, it was a simple bit of business. I mean, when you look at what you brought in as well, like you brought in them dirty picks, I like to call them as well. You know, you've got them like 47-69, which scream match Toby Wan, then piss off and enjoy your life. Who do you think you go with your first pick? Like, who's your eye on? Because I think that's the best part of the draft. Because I think I think we'll have 5 sliders this year. I think we're going to have 5 players, everyone else in their top 15, that no one else agrees with.
So the Dockers have their eye on Jacob Farrow as a Hayden Young clone. They think that once Jacob Farrow can do the same sort of apprenticeship that Hayden Young did, he can then move into the midfield alongside the likes of a Hayden Young type. So and the issue with Hayden Young over the last few years is he hasn't been able to stay on the park. He's almost been like Jordan De Goey, where you get 10 to 15 games out of him, and they're really good 10 to 15 games, but you need him for the entire season, and they just aren't getting that at the moment, which is a bit of a worry considering he's signed until, 2033?
He's such a good player, isn't he? And I can see the Farrow link, though, because I think Farrow suffers from what we like to call in the AFL draft, he's not Victorian. So, because I would say Farrow is up there with Josh Lindsay for his ability off halfback, where everyone's obsessed with Lindsay. I am, but I don't think Farrow's far behind.
Yeah, I really like Farrow. I mean, we've just brought in Judd McVee, so the question is, do we really need another guy, who can't break into the team? Because there were teams that inquired about Brandon Walker. That's how deep Freo are in small defenders at the moment. And yeah, like you asked me who else I like, and I wouldn't mind if at 20 or whatever 20 ends up being, the Dockers have a bit of is it Jai Murray in the Gold Coast Academy? I think he's a fairly similar player to Jacob Farrow, just a little bit rated a little bit less than him. So wouldn't mind them having a dip at him.
Yeah, Gold Coast have got two players I'm looking at that I think might be poachable. Jai Murray is one of them. Kobe Coulson as well. He looks like what would happen if you went to Audi and bought Ollie Greaves. And I would rather have Coulson over Greaves from the standpoint for 5 years. He's been working in a professional academy, which would suggest to me he's going to grow a lot quicker than Ollie Greaves is going to.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know this because I've told you in messages. I haven't really delved into this draft class as much as I have previous seasons. I just haven't had the interest. I've started to do a bit of research and all that because I want to be able to, know what's happening within this draft and who's out there. But people are right. This draft is so compromised. It's hard to get attached to anyone to come to your club.
You see, I'm with Woody here. I had you going front half. So would you? I was looking for, like, when I was looking at your list and the algorithm agreed with me, I was looking for someone like mid forward, pinch hitting on the wing, players like Noah Hibbins-Gargraves, like, turned me on a little bit. Like, do you reckon you guys would go for a little bit like Jevon Phillippo? He looks a Fremantle player. Him and Shai Bolton, give him the flag.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, there's players. To be honest, could the Dockers get better anywhere across the park? Yeah, sure. I'd let them pick a ruckman at pick 20 if it was going to improve the list. Like I don't really have a flag in the ground where or what I want them to pick, because I wouldn't have wanted them picking Murphy Reid last season, and then look how that turned out. So I trust David Walls to use the pick the way he sees fit, and I'm glad he did pick Murphy Reid in the end, because I can't imagine our team without him now. So I trust David Walls, and I don't really have an opinion of where where Fremantle need to pick, but something in the forward line, there was not enough ground level threat when it went below Tracy or Voss or Jackson or whoever was there last season, and as good as Shea Bolton was to pick up, it just felt like there was no threat at ground level still. They were still lacking that pressure for the opposition to. The opposition could play around with the ball if it wasn't, at marking height, because Frederick didn't do a whole lot, even though he had one of his probably better goal kicking seasons in a while. Shea Bolton still kicked 30 plus goals. Like, I think the forward line, if you're looking at raw stats, did okay, but as for watching it, it looked like there was something missing still.
Where do you stand? And a few people have asked. I know Double Dummy asked this as well. where do you stand with JL as a coach? I was quite critical of him, Damo, because I think he presses the safe button way too much. And I look at your team and I think it could play sexy, bold, industrious football. I really do. Do you get that vibe as a Freo man? Do you think he's a bit safe sometimes?
There is no reason why our game plan needs to go back into its shell at any point. I have no idea why he thinks methodical movement is the best way forward, because it clearly isn't. You look at that run from round 9 to about round 2021 or whatever it was, and it seemed like the players were afforded a bit of freedom, a bit to play on instinct. But once it came to the business end of the season, everything went back into its shell again, and you could see the Justin Longmuir game plan kind of creeping its way back in. He clearly has a vision for how he wants it to, for how he wants the game to be played, but it doesn't look like anything is on the same page once his game plan completely takes over. I really think that his stagnant game style needs to just disappear, and whatever they were doing in that stretch where they won 11 or 12 straight games, whatever it was, just needs to be the game plan.
You know, when I watch them, and I agree with this, the chaos, like when I watch Fremantle, I kind of want them to hurt a team. Like, I want to see, there's so many games we did the watch along on where by halfway through the third quarter, you are beating them up. There is punches coming from everywhere. And I'm expecting the score to go from a 12-point lead to a 70-point lead. Like, it feels like you're just going to run over the top. And then something stops. And I actually think that killer instinct is what's holding you back. And I really hope we see that this year, like from you guys. I think you need to absolutely decimate a side, pull them apart. Everyone kicks 4 goals. Like, I think it's in you.
I completely agree. And like, there's no killer instinct, but I was in Melbourne for that round 24 game against the Western Bulldogs. And that second quarter, if they could play like that, like that second quarter was incredible to watch live. Like the way that they just would mop up the ball and send it forward with whatever they had. That's how they should be playing all the time. But in the first quarter, they were mucking around with it. In the third quarter, they kind of continued the second quarter, but with what I would call a bit more control. And then that fourth quarter went back to the way they were playing in the first quarter, where they were just kind of mucking around with it because they seemingly had the game in the bag, which by the end, you could argue it wasn't as in the bag as it should have been. So they can switch modes within games, and they just need to learn to keep one mode the entire time. Otherwise, another team's going to run over the top of them, and there's not going to be that time to wrestle it back.
The game that I always think sums Fremantle up was when we played you, right?
Oh, God.
And I remember watching that game, and for some reason, when we play you, evidently you don't know how to beat Carlton. We could be the worst team in the history of the world, and Fremantle would give us a chance. But I remember watching that game, and in the second half, you were another level. Like another level versus us. But it felt like it took you ages to... It was like you were playing with the food. And I was watching this, and I just remember thinking a great side would have put their foot down at the bounce third quarter start. They would have killed us. And it felt like you were trying to... Even though Carlton were in disarray, it was like you were kicking around us. Yeah, and I just felt like you just take Carlton on, we will fold over and give you 4 points. And eventually you did. Like, what do you think that is? Do you reckon that's JL's mentality? Is it that JL took over? And I think credit's got to be given. You've built a fantastic list. Like, it's one of the most exciting lists in the competition, I think, that midfield. Or do you think it's just him learning the ropes? Do you think it's going to happen?
if Justin Longmuir, after what 5 years in the role, 4 years in the role, is still learning how to manage this list, then he needs to go. He like something needs to change. That employment agreement, whatever it's called. He's now the janitor because like I don't understand how after 5 years he can still be learning how to coach a team. Because if that's the case, something needs to change. They need to put someone else in that seat because there is no no reason for him to still be learning. There are coaches out there that'll come in and think they've got the best list in the country, like and wonder why and wonder how Justin Longmuir couldn't get anything going. Like there's like I try not to think about this game too much, but the round 8 game against St Kilda, they like every time they had the ball did not want to do anything with it, and then he got so frustrated, and in the post game he was like, I need to ask the players if they're prepared for what the season has to throw at us. And is Justin Longmuir prepared for what the season has to throw at him? Like I haven't seen him able to let things go and let the players play on instinct at all.
Mate, LS is spot on. Don't worry, mate. We had your former footy boss at our club, who I still don't think he actually understands footy, Brad Lloyd. I am convinced he is a government shill. It can't be a footballer. I've got to say this. You know what? At the start of the season, I agree with LS who asked early. I've always looked at your forward line and gone, where are the goals coming from? You must be chuffed that Tracy and Amiss, they look really good footballers. Like Josh Tracy, I feel is up there with Thilthorpe. You know the hype we give Thilthorpe and Darcy? I think he's not far behind him. I agree with LS, though. I'd love to see him kill a game, but his marking prowess, he's a problem.
Oh, yeah. And you mentioned Amos. He had a quiet season last season, the one just gone, but he still kicked, 32, 33 goals. That's pretty good for a third string key forward, especially when you've got Voss and Tracy ahead of you and Jackson all competing for ball in the air. So for your third, fourth, sometimes in line key forward to kick 33 goals, that's pretty good. And yes, he should absolutely be taking the game on more. And Josh Tracy, like you mentioned, should absolutely be taking the game on more and should be prepared now to have the number one key forward, because I don't think that's how the season began. I think another preseason with this group together, I think that I think that Tracy should improve. I think that, but the other thing that if they're going to send Tracy back to ice a game, he now has to learn how to defend as well as he can attack. Because if they're going to use him as the icing when they want to put a game to bed, he can't let Mac Andrew do what he did in that elimination final. If Mac Andrew's going to follow him, if whoever's on him is going to follow him, he has to learn all the defensive machinations of a key defender to not let that happen again.
Mate, I think you've nailed it. I do like a little bit of Trace there. I don't like him going down back. I complain when Geelong do it with Cameron to ice the game and throw him centre half back. Like, best form of defence is attack, but this is a good one from Sean. This is my issue with JL, and I want a Fremantle's man's opinion on it. I find him the most uninspiring verbal orator in the world. Like, I remember the Indigenous game, and he was like, this is not how we play. You watch. This is not how we got some secrets, but he's got to be different in person. He seems like vanilla ice cream.
I need to give. Look, I'm not a big fan of Justin Longmuir and his game plan. I'll say that straight off the bat. But put him in front of a camera on national TV and stick a microphone in his face and he turns into a blank piece of paper. Like there's nothing there. You go down to training though, and you listen to him pointing and yelling and talking to players and all that. He's a completely different person. Like who you see in press conferences and on TV and on AFL 360 or whatever it is not the person you see is not the person you see when you go down to the club and watch an open training. Like I don't know what happens when he gets a camera or a microphone in front of his face, but he is completely different. He just shuts down when he's on TV.
Well, I mean, you've got the big question for you. Where do you see Fremantle next year? Like, what is a successful season? Because I thought the way you finished the season, it does scream. It's usually how you finish the season is an indicator of who jumps up. I thought that form into finals gave people a problem. Where do you see Fremantle next year?
Has to be top 4. Do I think they will get there? I have no idea. But if top 4 requires 16 wins and a better percentage great. If it's 17 wins and a better percentage, great. If the competition evens out and 14 win gets top 4, excellent. I think 4th at a minimum is what they need the second chance next season in the finals.
Man, Josh nails it. Look, we're back in JL. Voss always finds a positive stat even when we lose by 100, which always makes me feel good.
I'm in a chat with a couple of other Freo fans on Twitter, and we always bag out some of the weird team selection decisions, but then but then the Dockers go out and win that week by like 30, 40 points, and we're just like, fucking hell, we're not the coach, are we? Like the game against Gold Coast before the bye when they named Nat Fyfe, like after just coming back from a calf injury, it's like you wouldn't play him. Like it's like he'd been conditioning in the waffle, like he wasn't really pushing anything, and then he did his calf, and now you've brought him straight back in. Now he's fit. It's like it doesn't seem right. And then they put him on late in that game, and he pushed everyone around in that 40 minutes that he was on, and he was almost the reason that it was the Dockers at Metricon and not the Suns at Metricon in that wet weather game. Like he has these moments of tactical genius, and then he has other moments where he can't work out how to put peas onto a fork. Like I can't work it out. Like nothing seems like he never seems to have like one brainwave that just fixes everything. It's always backwards and forwards with the way that JL coaches.
Yeah, you know what? This is quite funny. This serial killer vibes from McRae. It's quite funny. A good mate of mine, Essendon fan, he says McRae reminds him of Dexter. Have you ever seen the TV show Dexter? That like for the first 2 series, no one suspects he's weird. It's just like he's a little bit kooky. I get that from McRae as well. Like it's like a facade, but like behind closed doors, like he does something like destroys garden gnomes. Something just smashes them.
Look, if Nick Dacos does take a contract offer from Tasmania, the Holden Centre is going to be is going to be the scene of a crime, and it's going to play out like a Criminal Minds episode.
Who do you reckon? Well, I've got you, Damo. Who's the big name that Tasmania and chat? Get your answers in. Tasmania, they'll sign a big name. Who do you reckon that big name is? Who takes the Tassie money?
Ooh. I'm just trying to think. I'll throw an interesting one out there. I think Isaac Heaney.
Ooh, you see, I think you're on the wavelength. I think it'll be an old twat. Like and Heaney will be old then.
Well, yeah, but here's I I don't know if it'll be Isaac Heaney, but I think it'll be someone like that, someone that no one really expects. They could just go sign a rugby player and teach them to play football, like Israel Folau or Carmichael Hunt did. But
Josh says it is.
I could be. I also wonder if people keep linking Alex Pearce to Tasmania. Do they realise he's going to be 35 when Tasmania comes into the competition? If Tasmania want a 35-year-old Alex Pearce, they could have Alex Pearce, because Alex Pearce can barely stay on the park at 29.
To be fair, though, Damo, you're underestimating the stupidity of new franchises in AFL. Like we had Gold Coast when the whole tangent, didn't they, of Hall from Rugby League. They went with the Rugby League players. GWS did it. So I don't think we'll ever get Rugby League players in the system again. But someone will make a complete barmy fucking decision. So I could see Alex Pearce. Genuinely, I would not be shocked if someone told me 35-year-old Alex Pearce is captaining them for the first 2 seasons on 1.5 million a year. I don't even think I'd be shocked.
And good on him.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked though. I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, it's just I find it so funny. People go Alex Pearce, and it's like he's going to be 35. He could barely stay on the park at 29.
Do we reckon a lot of chat have gone with it? Nick Dacos, Harley Reid. Can you see Nick Dacos going for it?
I don't know about Nick Dacos. Harley Reid. I've been working on depth charts, which I do for Supercoach and all that, to work out where all the 22s and all the rookies are going to come from and all that, and put West Coast together earlier. If there's not a lot coming through, that they've really got to hit some drafts and nail some drafts. So if Harley Reid in 2 years' time hasn't seen any improvement from West Coast, or very minimal improvement from West Coast, I can definitely see him at Tasmania.
Well, I'll say this: when people say, "Will someone go?" Gary Ablett got all of the signing on bonus, so that was like 1.5 million at the time. They've been given 5, so you can allude that whichever player goes, I reckon it'll be about 3.5-4 million a year. It'll be a lot of fucking money. I think Harley Reid, I'm with Sayers here. I don't think Nick Dacos is motivated by money, and I think it's good for his long-term branding to stay at Collingwood. I could see Harley Reid, though, taking that money.
I can also see Tasmania not going for midfielders and throwing money at a key forward or a key defender. Because how many times has a developing team, you can even use North Melbourne as an example. They are a developing team. They have most of the midfield in place. They have most of their small forwards in place. They've got a really good key forward, but most developing teams lack key position players to go with the rest of the competition. What if Tasmania uses all of that money and all those draft picks and throws it at key position players, and then builds their midfield, builds their small forward brigade, builds their defense, all from the draft and free agency? I reckon that would be the smartest move for them, considering how hard it is for developing teams to get key forwards and key defenders on the same page and being able to compete with the best.
Well, from memory, when Gold Coast had that pre-access, I think they only took 2 key position players, which I do remember at the time thinking was weird. GWS, I think, took a bit more. You make a great point here, Damo, that if you are building a team, you'd want the hardest positions filled first, wouldn't you? So this could be a great shout. Is this Riley Thilthorpe 2.5 million, be our key forward, and then them throwing another 2 million at dare I say it, Jacob Wheatering, someone like that, like a Sam Taylor. Say, let's get both the pillars sorted, because the draft is all midfield, isn't it?
Pretty much. Yeah.
So with all them picks, you're going to get a decent mid.
And we've seen midfielders come straight into the competition from the draft and be just fine. It's the key position guys that always need to take time.
Yeah, and how hard is it to buy? Like, look, Tom Mitchell's just been delisted. Like, when they come in, there'll be an old midfielder that's wily, that's coming to 31, 32. That teams are phasing out. Like, you look at Patrick Cripps, don't like using him, he's Carlton's captain, but 2027, would you blame him?
I mean, St Kilda just offloaded Jack Steele for what, a future third or whatever it was. So there's going to be someone out there that they can pick up.
Do you know what I mean? Look, I think Tasmania is beautiful, Lou. Mate, beautiful. What a way of life. Like, you know, it's closest to the English climate you get down here. Good beer, green grass. Mate, I'd go to Tassie.
Actually, I'll use what Lou said there to. So the Dockers are very careful with who they pick up from the draft because of all those go home guys that they had all those years ago. And I remember a quote from. Do you remember Michael Apness?
The name rings a bell for some reason.
Dockers picked him up in the first round of the 2013 draft or the 2012 draft or thereabouts. He took a really long time to settle into Perth because he had no one here that he knew, and everyone who he knew was because of football. And he wanted an escape from football that he just wasn't getting in Perth. He didn't get traded home, but like there wasn't the escape from football that he needed because everyone he knew, everywhere he knew was because of football. Tasmania will need to be able to provide an environment where the players can escape from football when they want to, or otherwise they're going to have trouble hanging on to the players that they draft.
You'd imagine that they will do like GWS. They had that theory for a while. I know Port Adelaide live in that theory. West Coast are starting that theory at the minute. Trade people from the same junior academies. You'd imagine that with their draft, they're probably going to look at that. Like this year, it's a great opportunity with Eastern Rangers being the best junior club for a team interstate to try and pair up your Xavier Taylor with your Sullivan and Roby. You know, so they've got a bit of uniqueness. It does work. So it'd be interesting if they do that as well. That's a great point you make there, Damo, because people forget that. People hate, for some reason, Australia, it's weird. Victorians, particularly if they're Victorians, I'm throwing shade at Victorians because they're 95% of the want home crew. That can't be that different, though, can it? Like, you can't tell me I mean, look, I live here for 13 years now. I can tell you Australia is fuck all like UK. Like, if I can do it, why can't these people just move 6 hours north of mum and dad at 18 for $1 million a year? I would have done it at 18.
I've come to Melbourne enough over the last 3 or 4 years to tell you that Perth and Melbourne are very different. Like, yeah, really, it really is like stepping into a different country when you come to Melbourne.
Yeah, but for $1 million a year, Demo,
it would need to be a really good job. It would need to be a really good scenario for me to choose money over comfort.
But in today's day and age, with Skype and stuff like that, video calls.
No, doesn't it? It wouldn't help. It would need to be a really good, one of a kind opportunity for you to choose money over comfort, and comfort is going to be above all else when you move, especially if it has to be a really, really good opportunity to choose money over comfort.
Would that come down though to the culture though? Like, because you look at Eagles, I do a lot of research on like this. The Eagles have got like a real big game plan for Victorians. Like they've come up with like a massive game plan of looking at how the academies run, how Victorians run, linking players up. I think they've done a marvelous job with Harley Reid, and part of me thinks Harley Reid might stay at the Eagles for a long time. Should they jump up the ladder? I think that's going to be the pending thing. Do you not think that comes though on the clubs as well? Because I know what it was like at 18. Moving was daunting at first, but then once you got there, it was cool. Wouldn't you say Victorian teams who lose players, it seems to be Victorians who come home? What, like, surely that's more on Tasmania and the Perth teams and the South Australian teams to create a culture that keeps them?
Oh, absolutely. But like I said, like I've been from Perth to Adelaide. It is essentially the same fucking city. Like there is no reason to want to go home to Adelaide from Perth because it feels like the same city. You go from Perth to Melbourne or Adelaide to Melbourne, completely different. There is completely different vibe, different everything. Like I can completely see the reason WA players in Victoria would want to go home to Perth, but I could also see why Victorian players from Perth would want to go back to Melbourne. Like
I'm
it is
so intrigued at the differences.
Completely different environment.
Are there differences? So I know a couple of players that work out in Geelong, and I've seen like going to Geelong cafes. You see Tom Hawkins. No one bothers them. But then I've gone in the CBD with players that I know, and people can't help harass them for autographs, take pictures, things like that. And is that the same in Perth? Are you saying like is Melbourne more full on?
Melbourne's a fishbowl. Like you go to Geelong, you're out of the fishbowl. Yes, you can go to Kmart to go buy clothes. You can go to the coffee shop. You can go to Bunnings. No one's really going to talk to you. The same, like in Perth, some random guy might ask for a picture, but that's it. Like in Perth, you can wander around. Even like I went to Adelaide for the very first gather round. Even people in Adelaide were too scared, or I don't know. Maybe too scared isn't the right term, but still didn't go up to players who were just wandering around doing their business in gather round. Like in Melbourne, like it's a fishbowl.
You know what? That's hey, look, it's crazy. No, I've got to say, it says just my experience. Just people just. As Damo said, they kind of didn't really bat an eyelid. It was like, hi, like I've been for coffee with players in Melbourne, and like there'll be queues, like queues. It's crazy. And I was like, that's a bit full on. Like you're an average footballer. Like I'm embarrassed to have a coffee with you. That was my mindset. But no, that's interesting. That Damo. You know what? I need to explain it because I agree here with James. It is the biggest myth when I cover the draft. South Australians get the worst rap of all their flight risks. But when you look at the data, it's Victorians. Like if I was a South Australian club, I'd be reluctant to back a Victorian because they do seem to want to go home very quickly.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
I know.
Kmart.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it feels like the clubs that have had problems with homesickness and players with homesickness have been able to work out something that works for them in the long run. Like Fremantle get it, haven't had it in a few years now. West Coast don't get it. Adelaide rarely get it. Port Adelaide get it sometimes, but rarely. Like, it doesn't seem to be a thing for the clubs that have gone through it the worst. But yeah, it's always interesting to see how clubs adjust when that next waves comes.
Mate, it'd be fascinating. Let's hope Tasmania have a plan because, I mean, I've never been to Tasmania. It's somewhere I really want to go, but it looks nice. It looks nice. Like, it does look like where I'd want to live.
Sorry, you cut out for a second there for me.
Oh, I said when I look at Tasmania, it looks
Oh,
beautiful. And if I
yeah.
was a footballer, I'd kind of like that lifestyle.
It's very, you know, it's very picturesque. You go outside of the cities and it's like you want to take your camera, you want to photograph everything.
Mate, I'm with you. Well, I mean, Damo, thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate you, mate. Make sure you check out Damo. Click his link. If you click his thing, Damo SC does some great Supercoach content. And he'll be on this show soon because we'll be doing some draft content with him.
My research is ramping up. I already told you that I haven't really looked into it a lot. I like last year's draft, I was into it like well before now.
Mate, unfortunately, I've been watching it all year. Or fortunately, it's one of them. It's unlucky or lucky, but no, mate, I absolutely adore it. I love the draft. But Damo, mate, always a pleasure chatting to you, and I'll see you next time, legend.
Always good to chat, Pom.
Cheers, mate. Right, chat. That will do us. An hour and a half. My drugs on my finger are wearing out. So thank you very much for joining us. What I do want to quickly just share with you, absolute legend of our channel, Big Josh has been selected for Victoria to play in the football. He's playing in the All Abilities Football Championship representing our great state. And he's fundraising to get himself across to represent us. The GoFundMe, the link is in the chat now. If you do, no obligation, but it would mean a lot. I'm speaking to Mrs. Pom about us donating. He's just put that up today. You'll see him in the chat though. The legend that is Josh. He always comments for us. You've saw him as well on the Blue Abroad channel. And we do love him. So if you can do that, help him out. Throw him a few dollars. That would be great from the team. Those asking what I did to my finger, I decided to lop it off, mate. So I've got 3 stitches in there. But chat, thank you very much. See you soon. Make sure you like and subscribe. And can't wait to see you. We'll be back Wednesday for this show. So this is going to be a 2-weekly thing. So I'm going to have some special guests next time. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. Make sure you sub. Love you all. Have a great weekend. Pom out.